Welcome back to the OKC Foodcast. I'm Nabil.
I'm Ashley.
And today we have a very special guest on the show with us, Gabe Lewis. Some of you might recognize him from the small TV show MasterChef, or if you ever ate at Chipotle, which who doesn't?
Welcome, Gabe.
Oh, well, thank you. It's great to be here. It's great to be here.
But before we jump into that, let's talk about the best thing we ate this week.
Ooh. What's the best thing you ate, Nabil?
Oh, that's a tough one. I was in meetings all week this week, which actually the hotel food or the banquet food at the Hilton Garden Inn in Edmond was surprisingly good. It wasn't rubber chicken.
Okay, the Garden Inn. So there's one of those in Bricktown as well. I've had brunch there before.
Yeah, it was good. It was, I think my favorite meal there was this last one. I don't even know what it was because I wish people would put out name cards of what the food is.
Yeah.
Why isn't that a common practice?
Some people just don't want to do it. Some people want to just leave you guessing, want you to come back for more. So they may not want to tell you exactly what it is because you'll just look it up and make it yourself.
But the chocolate cake there was really good as well. So if you ever have a conference there, don't dread the food. It's decent.
Nice. Very cool.
What about you?
My favorite thing I ate this week would have to be the Spanish paella my best friend Natalie made me.
Show
it
off.
was unbelievable. Oh my God. I mean, from mussels to clams, shrimp. Oh my gosh. It was top notch.
You know, I'm actually in the middle of watching the show Final Table.
Oh, love Final Table.
I haven't
Love
seen
Final Table.
And one of their competitions was Spanish paella.
Well, she says the secret to the perfect paella is the rice. Like, don't skimp on cheap rice. It's called like bomba or something like that.
Interesting. And what's the part where it's almost burnt crispy rice? What's that called?
Ooh, the term is escaping my mind.
Because that's what they said was the key to paella. If you don't
Right.
have that, it's not paella.
No, this had it. It was perfect. I wish I had some more now.
I'm sure one of us will think of that. But Gabe, in the meanwhile, what's the best thing you ate this week?
Best thing I've eaten this week has to be the crispy catfish from Cecibon in Dale City. They have some of the best crispy catfish. It's not cornmeal dusted. It's actually coated in flour and seasoned with Old Bay and a couple of different herbs and spices, and fried to perfection, served with what they call tiger sauce, which is a honey mustard-based dipping sauce. It is to die for, and you get a pound of it for $9.99. Cannot beat it.
Wow.
It is, I mean, the way we describe dishes, oh, it was so good. There was mussels
It
and
was
shrimp.
awesome.
And Gabe's here like, instead of this thing, they use this.
flour
It was
dusted.
fantastic. So there's the difference between the home cook and the professional. Just to let you know.
Sure.
It's okay. We just try to make the food sound fancy. That's all it is.
You're throwing crostini and stuff everywhere, and you're good to go.
Moose bouche, that's a killer.
All right, so Gabe, I am sure people who aren't familiar with you, or even those who are probably more eager to learn about you. So tell us your story. How did it all start? What brought this love of food?
So the love of food actually started a long time ago, probably about around age 7 or 8. I spent a lot of time in the kitchen with my mother, my grandmother. We're a very big food family, so everything holiday was food-centric. So our Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, Easter, even St. Patty's Day, it doesn't really matter.
Now, for the Christmas or Thanksgiving, did y'all do like a traditional meal or did you go a little different?
So in the earlier years, it was more traditional with a Southern twist. Later years, we definitely kind of amped it up a bit, a little bit of that chef pizzazz or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The chefiness?
The chefiness was absolutely added.
That's the technical term.
Absolutely. But it started back then. And about 11 to 12 years old, I really started to get a little bit more serious about it. 14 came around, and my dad had a stroke. And around that time, I had to be a little bit more conscious of what he was eating. So I got in the kitchen and started experimenting a little bit more, and it just built from there.
Nice.
That's
Very cool.
excellent. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of the show, and I don't think you are, Ashley.
No, I actually haven't seen it, but now I am dying to see it.
It is such a good show. And the reason why I started watching that show is because I'm a huge fan of Gordon Ramsay, which I feel like most people, like, that's Like if you were a Super Bowl fan, you'd be like, "Oh, New England Patriots, right? That's Gordon Ramsay."
Absolutely.
But that guy is, I mean, it's Gordon Ramsay. Like I don't think anyone is like him.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't give a crap.
I don't think anybody's made
Can we say that
as
on
many
the show?
chefs cry as him.
The only person that could even rival Gordon Ramsay's attitude and persona is a chef by the name of Marco Pierre White. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He's actually one of the chefs that Chef Ramsay trained under.
Oh,
he had a
so
restaurant.
that's where he got his attitude from.
Absolutely. Late 80s and early 90s, he had a restaurant by the name of Harvey's. And Marco Pierre White was around 22 or 23 when he earned his first Michelin star.
Wow.
Interesting.
And he is known as one of the only chefs, or the only chef to have ever made Gordon Ramsay cry.
Wow.
Most interesting
That's a little
thing.
fun nugget.
It is.
Did Gordon tell you that story?
No, I had to do some deep research on that. I have been a huge Gordon Ramsay fan since I was about 10 or 11 years
Yeah.
old. So I have researched almost anything that I can about the guy before I actually met him.
Cool.
Also, I feel like we made some enemies by saying New England Patriots for the Super Bowl. But I'm not a fan. Like, let's just put it that way. Whatever. Football, let's forget about it. Food. That's what we're here for.
So tell us more about your time on MasterChef.
Well, starting out on MasterChef was a bit difficult. Even the casting process, they start very early on.
Yeah, tell us about the casting process. Start at the very beginning.
So
I want to know everything.
So to kind of give you my story of how I got into it, it was around mid-February, and I got a text message from my sister that said, "Have you seen this?" And it was a picture of a casting call for MasterChef. And it's on Craigslist, so I'm kind of not really giving it the 100%. I'm thinking, it's probably fake. People are scamming you. I don't know why you're getting into this. I checked the actual Fox website, and it was true. They are holding casting calls in Oklahoma City, which happened to fall on my brother's birthday.
Cool.
So I took what I was best known for at the time, which is a crispy pork belly with coconut jasmine rice and some pea shoots.
Man, that sounds awesome.
It's much better now than it was then.
Yeah.
But I took it up there. I was lucky enough that I was only about 10 minutes away from the audition site, and my food was hot and ready. So when I plated for the judges, they cut in with the butter knife.
Oh, nice.
easy.
I like how you said cut in with a butter knife.
Yeah.
Oh, I could have said the
'cause it's
plastic
so-
part, but I didn't want to sound.
It's so tender.
It was very tender.
Yeah.
I had gotten up that morning and braised it for about 2 to 3 hours, so it had a nice hearty flavor, great tenderness, and a crispy pork skin right on top. So they allow you to bring up your dish, you plate it, you tell a little bit about yourself. After they got the initial casting together, then they will send you on to the next round of casting, which involves on-screen camera time, doing an interview, seeing how you're like with other people. They ask you about yourself a little bit, and then they begin to send you topics and kind of see where you're at, what kind of person you are. They will send you to Texas or whatever your nearest testing site is for a psychological evaluation.
Oh, dang.
It is it's very intense. Also did
So I guess you passed.
I guess so.
Good for
Wait, so do they
you.
look for the crazy people or do they look for the sane people?
I think they look for the same people with potential to be crazy.
Yeah, because they want good TV.
They absolutely, they want the drama to be organic. And I will tell you, just from experience, there's nothing that's organized or thrown out there. It's you are in the moment. If you're upset and you're lashing out at someone or somebody's lashing out at you, it's 100% real. Any beefs that we had on the show were beefs that we had on the show.
Right.
And beefs that carried on, maybe.
Yeah.
Or you just left out that show. That's interesting because a lot of people always theorize that all this drama
Right.
is scripted and there's no way that would happen. And why would someone say that on camera?
It's
And-
not organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's good to know.
Absolutely.
It gives that that credibility and that authenticity that people like.
Oh, absolutely. They don't. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that the cast that you're with are the people that you spend the most time with. So while I was down there, I spent probably anywhere from 16 to 18 hours a day with these people. They become like a second family to you by the end. But at the beginning, when everybody has that competitive spirit and everybody's a little bit more cutthroat, it's a bit intense. Emotions run
Yeah.
high. So, you're limited to the people that you have to compete against. You cannot converse with people that you haven't met. If you're in a hotel, you can't, run a conversation with somebody you haven't met before. It's very intense.
How long does it take? Like, how long were you there for?
I was there for close to 3 months.
Wow. That's a long time. And you don't get to have fun outside the hotel?
No, not very much. No, you're kind of on a tight watch. They have people called wranglers that kind of keep track of your
Wranglers?
whereabouts.
Wow.
Yes,
Like cattle?
Exactly. We're head of cattle. So they had wranglers that would bring us kind of back to center, or they would keep track of our whereabouts. They keep our hotel keys, things like that. And we only got to talk to our families for maybe 10 to 12 minutes a week.
That's messed up.
Very, very intense, but it's
Well,
very
12
isolating.
minutes a week.
But they need you to stay focused. Like, I mean, think about
What
think
if my
about that
mom,
pressure
like,
that they're
keeps me
in.
focused?
Oh well. But like that pressure that you're in that whole day, because it's back to back. It's not like, oh, we'll do this next week. No, it's the next day. So yeah,
Wow.
that is intense.
That is 3 months of that.
Yeah, it's pretty nonstop. You get about 1 day a week where they say, "Okay, do whatever you want to do."
I want to sleep.
Exactly. That's pretty much your options: is sleep, eat, or study.
So unfortunately, you didn't make it all the way through,
Very true.
but you still ended up with a fantastic ending. So tell us a little about that.
So we had an episode called Chopsticks and Pasta, which they took the name from the challenges we had in that episode. So in the first half of the episode, we had a mystery box where we had to prepare a dish that could be eaten with chopsticks. Did okay on that side. Didn't place top 3, but did all right. So our next challenge happened to be a pasta challenge. And the winner of that challenge, which is season 8's winner, Dino, got to select the type of pastas that each competitor would work with. And he gave me one of the more complicated pastas, which is cannelloni. And I don't know if you guys know about cannelloni, but it's a tubular pasta, and it stands up on its own. So, or it's
So
supposed
it stands like vertical?
to. It's kind of like if you were to sit a cylinder on its side.
Okay.
So it's like manicotti, but it's a lot smoother.
Oh, but on its side, so
Correct.
it's not
Correct.
upright. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And things like that need a very hearty filling, something that's going to be able to keep that shape.
Right.
At the time, I was a bit more inexperienced and I didn't understand those concepts. So I used a ricotta filling, and I was pescatarian, so I wouldn't eat meat. So I didn't use pork or anything that would keep it standing up, so it collapsed on me in the oven, which ultimately led to me being dismissed from the show. I like to say dismissed instead of eliminated.
That's a nice way to
That's
put
a
it.
nice way to put
But
it.
on my way out,
You're dismissed.
I was dismissed. Chef Ramsay offered to send me to culinary school, a full ride, culinary school of my choice. And after that, Chef Aaron Sanchez offered me a job in New Orleans working in one of his restaurants.
What more could you ask for?
Right?
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
You know, in certain ways, that might be better. Well, I can't say that's better than winning. I'm sorry, but
I mean,
I was just ripping on you.
I definitely feel like I won in my own right.
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
didn't get the cash prize or the actual title of it, but at the end of the day, it was a learning experience. And if I had a chance to do it all over again, I definitely would.
I mean,
Right.
that it kind of like set you up.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It was. I mean, that's great, and the fact that they saw that in you, that they were like, hey, this is what we're, because they don't do that for everyone,
Very true.
right? So, I mean, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, did Dino have beef with you?
Funny enough, no. Dino and I got along very well. We had a lot of conversations outside of the show. Whenever we weren't filming, we had a lot of conversations. And you can actually see in that episode that he selected a very difficult pasta for me early on in the episode. He thought I was going to do well based off of my technique in working the pasta. So Dino and I didn't necessarily have any kind of beef or side drama that people didn't know about.
Side
I was
drama.
actually, very fond of Dino. My parents were out there when I did get my white apron, and both of them had a chance to meet Dino, and they were very fond of him as well.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I mean, obviously, he saw you as a threat, so he had to get rid of you.
Right?
Yeah, I had to go.
I mean,
I had to
it's, you know,
It's a
What-
competition at the end of the day.
what's that term, like eat or be eaten?
Eat or be eaten.
Yeah.
Very food chainy.
Yeah.
Also, I cheated and I Googled what the crispy rice was.
Oh, what's it called?
It's sauerkraut.
Ooh,
That's
yes,
right.
yes.
That's right.
As soon as you hear it, you're like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
duh.
clicks. It
Duh.
instantly clicks.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
so now you know. So tell us what you're up to now.
So as of the middle of 2018, I actually started my own LLC. I filed with the state of Oklahoma, and now run my own independent catering company. It's Chef Gabe LLC. So I've done small event catering, wedding catering, and things like that for residents here in Oklahoma and people in Texas and Colorado.
That's awesome.
How do you do that going to Texas, Colorado? Do you have a truck or something you pile all your stuff in?
Pretty much, it's so I drive a mid 2000s Jeep that has a pretty good capacity to hold everything that I need. So I have a couple of storage containers. I order things that I need for the event, and I'll drive to those events or anything like that.
Okay. Do you have like for your catering? Do you have any specialties, like types of food that you like to do?
Absolutely, I do have a tendency to lean more towards French or Asian, sometimes Italian.
Oh my gosh!
But I almost
Speaking
always
my language.
have a salmon option. Salmon,
Oh yeah.
Almost always have a salmon option.
Well,
I have to.
salmon's delicious.
It is a fantastic fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of salmon. It's
No.
just funny that you're like, if you need a salmon option, I got
I
it.
always have a salmon option.
Absolutely. That and a steak. Got to have a steak on deck.
Yeah.
It's Oklahoma now.
That's true.
True.
That's true.
True.
And
People
you
like
do,
their beef.
people like their beef. And you do some of these events with other MasterChef contestants as well, right? So those relationships carry on past just the TV series.
Very true. Very true. Somebody by the name of Mike Newton. He placed top 12. He was eliminated in our Vegas episode. Him and I grew very close, and obviously, Texas and Oklahoma are frenemies.
Right.
So kind of perfectly described what
Frenemies.
our relationship was on the show. But he kind of took on more of a mentorship role. He was my fill-in dad while I was there. And from that, we kind of grew a close friendship. So now I actually travel to Texas and we do events together. I'm actually supposed to travel with him in March, and we're going to be doing a couple events there in Texas as well.
Awesome.
And runner-up from season 8, Jason Wang, who has done his incredible things in Taiwan. He's off and has just exploded since the end of the show. We've done a couple of cooking classes with him as well. Very, very genuine guy.
That's exciting. Hopefully I'll
That
get
is
to
very
attend one of these.
exciting.
Oh, it's amazing. It is amazing. I learn from watching them sometimes.
I want to take a cooking class.
That's funny story.
Yeah.
That's how Gabe and I met.
Oh,
took-
that's right.
I took one of his cooking classes,
What
and
did
it
you-
was so good.
What did you make?
Tell us, Gabe.
Was that the taco class?
No, that was actually the Thanksgiving one.
It was the Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Okay, so we did a citrus herb turkey that had a garlic compound butter under the skin that's roasted for a good 5 or 6 hours. We made turkey cranberry bites from that, which were little crostinis that were toasted in rosemary oil that I had basted the turkey in. We had a garlic herb cheese spread to go on top of that. Then we had slices of the fresh turkey and a homemade red wine
hungry.
citrus cranberry sauce to go on top of that.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Oh, you know what? This past Thanksgiving, I did make a citrus. Actually, it was a citrus sangria cranberry sauce.
Ooh,
Yeah.
very nice.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
it was delicious. It had a lot of wine in it.
Oh, yeah. Best cranberry sauces have wine in them.
Yeah.
Copious amounts of it.
Oh, it is so good. Well, I'm definitely going to have to come and take one of your classes. That's
yeah.
exciting.
Absolutely. I try to offer.
Where do you do that at?
It usually depends. I've done some in Norman at Loveworks, fantastic charity that helps a lot of youth figure out what they want to do in life. They give them direction or give them multiple areas and different career fields that they can check out. We've done some to fundraise there. I've done a couple at Bell's Kitchen, which is a donut shop. They have a, correct me if I'm wrong, but a downtown location and a location off of May Avenue.
I think so.
Yeah. Very, very fantastic donut
And
shop.
the one we were on was on May Avenue.
Correct.
And other than the fantastic turkey crostinis, we also made some dessert because it was
Oh,
a
yeah.
donut shop.
Ooh,
Right.
yeah.
What was the dessert?
So, I mean, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of like pumpkin and pumpkin spice. There's some
like it.
instances where I like it. And most of the desserts were about pumpkin and pumpkin spice, but that was more for my wife, Serena.
Yeah.
She is the baker.
Yeah.
I do not bake. Although I shouldn't say that. That's like a cardinal sin. You should know
Right.
how to do everything.
Right.
But I just don't have that patience to bake. Right? I'm more of the what's happening with the food right now.
Yeah.
Let's,
I mean,
you know.
I'm better at cooking dinners and meals than baking. My sister, she actually went to culinary school and she's a pastry chef. And so I feel like that competitive spirit in me, I always want to beat her in a pastry or cake or something. And she's so good that it's just like comes secondhand. And I'm calling her like, can I use this kind of oil because I don't have any of this? But I am not great at baking. I'm getting better though.
Yeah, my like I said, it's the patience. I've baked my own bread and
Yeah, I've done that.
I've tried to do it and it turns out really good. Humble brag.
Hashtag it was delicious. Best bread I've had in my life.
But it was just that patience. And Serena has that. And she's got like that measurement mathematical mindset. Because
Yeah.
I mean she's gonna be a doctor, so she has to have that.
Right.
She has that mindset where she is really good at it. So I was like, how about you take this because you're good at it, and I'll do this.
Yeah. That
Absolutely.
works.
And I have a bad habit of wanting to bake all of my desserts. So any event that I've catered, I've always made the dessert. And I try to keep it on a separate day. I am more of a savory cook.
Yeah.
I am not the biggest pastry person to begin with. So making pastries doesn't come naturally to me.
Right.
So it's definitely
Same.
something that takes a lot of patience and time, a lot of science and math. And a lot of people do not understand that baking is a science.
Yeah,
it is
it
a science.
is.
There's a lot of interactions. There's a lot of reactions that happen, yeast development, things like that, that really make pastries unique.
Yeah, well put.
Yeah, so I'm 100% there with you guys. I'm not a pastry person. I know my way around a couple of cakes, a couple different types of bread, but it's very minimal. I'm not out there making croquembouche and big old towers of puff pastry or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Gabe, before we end this episode, there is something that we thought would be fun to do with all our guests. And since this is the first time you're on the show, we won't do this with you in future episodes if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll come up with different questions. But this part of the show is called The Kitchen Sink.
Everything but the kitchen sink.
Well, maybe even the kitchen sink. We have a bunch of fun random questions, all food related, that we're going to throw at you and see what you say.
All right, let's make it happen.
These are not trick questions.
No, just first thing that comes to mind.
I am used to the trick questions, so my mind is always thinking, what is the ulterior motive?
All right. So first question: if you were asked to showcase one ingredient, what would you choose?
One ingredient,
Showcase.
I've been asked this question before, and I think I have to go back to my original answer. It's ginger. I think ginger is an ingredient that's used, but it's not really showcased.
That's interesting.
It's always a undertone, but it's not the main flavor palette that you experience. So I think ginger is not getting its time in the sun as it should. So if I had to showcase one ingredient, ginger's it. And it has a lot of health properties.
Ginger's
as well.
it.
Ginger is it.
Yeah. And it does have a lot of health benefits.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So follow up, what would you make with ginger?
Ooh, that is a good question. I think if I'm really going to showcase ginger, I want to be able to showcase how light it can be, and contrast with how heavy it can be. So I would do something along the lines of a soup, kind of an Asian-inspired soup.
Oh, speaking
fortify the broth with
my
ginger.
language, I love soup.
Man, that sounds really good. When are you making that?
We're coming over.
Whenever I can finally get myself back in the kitchen, that's definitely on the list.
Switching gears a little bit, what is your favorite snack food? Everyone has this guilty pleasure that they snack on something. What do you snack on?
What do I snack on? Honestly, if I had to pick a savory snack, it's Funyuns or Funyuns and Coke.
Good choice.
Funyuns and Coke has been a classic for me.
Onions.
If I'm going to go on the sweet side, it's either Oreos or Reese's Cups. Just
Nice.
Okay.
can't get enough of
I
them.
could get on board with Oreos. Oreos and milk?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Have to.
I'm not a big chocolate fan, so I can get on board with Oreos, but I would just eat the center. It's true.
You see Ashley
No, you
opening
just-
up the Oreo and taking a little spoon to the
so
middle.
you're why they
just-
make double
You
stuffs.
just scrape it with your teeth, and
Oh
then
my
you put it back
gosh.
together.
I don't
Oh,
like the
no.
double stuff. It
I
throws
don't
off the
either.
ratio.
It really does.
No,
it really does. It's too much
doesn't.
cream.
That's
Yes,
all you
it's
need
too
is
much
the
cream.
cream.
No.
Future reference, if you're really interested in taking the cream out, you can literally just roll it out the cookie. You don't even have to have it scraped up.
Really?
Yeah. My nephew loves the center of the
Oh,
Oreos.
he's pro.
Yeah, he's pro.
He's pro.
That's funny. All right. Let's see. Favorite meal to make at home?
Ooh, favorite meal. Now, it's incredibly simple. I like to do a orange and soy miso glazed salmon over a bed of jasmine rice, sometimes cooked with coconut and ginger.
So
and
simple.
a couple of sauteed vegetables, maybe some bok choy.
Totally. I can make that in my sleep.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it is literally like a 30-minute meal. Trust me, it's very straightforward. If I got your recipe, I know you can knock it out.
Yeah.
Man,
Well, I
that
may have
sounds
to
so
get that
good.
recipe.
We're going to have to do like a little cooking night with Gabe.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Okay, so this is what you cook at home. What if you're feeling lazy and you go out to eat? Well, you know, in your PJs, you just want to roll up, get something, and go back home. What do you get?
Ooh, long time favorite. Been ordering since I was probably 12, 13 years old. It's Yummy Yummy Chinese food. It's right off of 63rd Street and Meridian. Fantastic. They've been in business since 2002 and have been killing it ever since. I mean, the most amazing hole-in-the-wall Chinese food. They do something with their lo mein that no one else does.
We don't know what it is.
Great umami flavor, super savory. The rice is crispy. You can taste the flames that are coming over the wok. You can tell that they're cooking it with care. Delicious and affordable. It's fantastic.
Okay, I'm going to have to go try
Yummy,
this. I
yummy.
love
I'm gonna have to
hole-in-the-wall
try
Chinese
it.
foods.
Yeah.
In college, there was this place called Orient Express. It was right down the street from school. I kid you not, we used to go there like 4 times a week. And it got to the point where I would walk in, and you know how you sit down and the person brings you your water. It's like, what do
They
you want
just
to
start
eat?
making your meal.
The guy would bring me my hot and sour soup, and he'd be like, "You want to eat lo mein today?" Because I had like 2 things I would pick from, and he would pick for me.
So
It was
the-
amazing. Like I would walk in,
mind
there'd be hot and
reader.
sour soup right there. I'd start eating it, put some sriracha in there, start
love
eating it.
hot and sour
He'd bring
soup.
the water. He'd point to me, be like, "Lo mein?" Be like, "Sounds good." And by the time I'm done with the soup, lo mein's out. It was fantastic.
See, it's funny
Wow.
that you bring that up because anytime that if I call in my order and I go to pick it up, my name's on the receipt. I do not recall giving them my name over the phone.
Maybe they have caller ID.
I don't know what they have, but they always recognize. They're like, "Oh, how are you doing today?" You know.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I went in and one of the guys was like, "So man, we doing sesame shrimp, we doing lo mein, we doing chicken." Like, you know, I had dietary restrictions at some point, so I was a pescatarian. So he knew that I wasn't going to order meat, and I had to switch it up on him one day and said, "Oh man, I'm getting sesame chicken."
He's like, "What?"
Sesame chicken. I said, "Man, I've gone back to the dark side."
All right, so I'm gonna try. So the sesame chicken is the thing to try there.
Oh yeah, sesame
Okay.
chicken or the lo mein, definitely.
Okay, done.
All right, cool. Let's see. Next question from the kitchen sink. What country or region that you've been to do you think has the most intriguing food culture?
Oh, I would definitely say Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah, big fan. And it's very funny that I would say that. Growing up, I did not like Mexican food all that much, and I was more exposed to Tex-Mex, so that was my idea of Mexican food. And as I got older and I started doing more research and cooking, I started to discover the incredible spices that they have, dried chilies, amazing variations that, you know, for the pork and chicken dishes that they have. And a lot of people said, "Oh, well, you know, it's just rice, beans, and cheese." It said it's not the ingredients they use, it's the way they transform them. And I think
Interesting.
Mexico has a talent for that is just now beginning to be, you know, showcased in America.
Right, and recognized.
Absolutely.
You know, I was in Tucson a couple of months ago, and you know, being so close to the border, there's an incredible selection of Mexican food. And my friend that lives there, he was like, "What type of Mexican food do you want to eat?" And I was just like, "Mexican food."
the
Like,
kind that's
I mean, the
food.
type that's Mexican, right? I just want good tacos. I want good
guacamole.
whatever Mexican food you have. But there are such distinct variations between restaurants there that you will not get one thing here that you will get in the other place.
Really?
Yeah, it is. And the food there is so good. There's this one thing I tried. It was called soca or seca. Can't remember exactly what it was. But it was basically like shredded beef jerky.
Yum.
It was
Beef jerky?
Yeah.
So it was like hard?
it wasn't hard because it was shredded, but it was a little chewier.
Dried?
It was dried. It was dried beef, dried shredded beef.
Interesting.
It was delicious. And then there was a, you think
Was
of
that
Mexican
like in
pizza.
a taco?
It was a huge thing like that, but such variation. So yeah, you don't know Mexican food until you go and try. It's like also regionalized and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Mexico is a place you've been to. What's a place you want to go to explore their food culture?
100% Japan. I love Japan.
Yes.
Me
and from
too.
just
Me
the,
too.
the actual culture to the food culture itself, it's so unique. People in Japan treat their food with such respect, and they transform the ingredients to showcase what that ingredient truly is instead of trying to mask it. And there's so many different shopping places and restaurants there to try. And there's so many different food shows that are now just going to Japan and
Yeah.
showcasing what they have to offer. David Chang, owner of Momofuku, he's very well known. Ugly Delicious is his show on Netflix.
Oh,
Very well
I
known
like that show.
for traveling Asia and showcasing what they have to offer in Japan, especially.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so specific that they will use a specific type of charcoal to cook specific types of chicken cuts. So the chicken thighs or the leg, they can use a specific type of charcoal that can range from anywhere from $25 to $30 a pound here.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it showcases
crazy.
that ingredient in such a way that it can literally bring tears to people's eyes. That's how amazing it is.
You know the two types
Wow.
of charcoal I know?
The black kind?
The quick light one and the one you got to do in the chimney.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not a charcoal expert myself.
But Japanese food has that simplicity.
Oh, I love
And
Japanese
it's
food.
it's simple yet so complex.
And
It's
so
amazing. It's so good. I
flavorful.
really, that's one place I want to go explore. And eat all the ramen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just exploring the ramen culture there would be in and of itself an adventure.
Yes, agreed. Oh, I love
Between
ramen
that
so
and
much.
the sushi, and one thing that a lot of people don't know, they think, oh, you're just taking raw fish and putting it on rice and serving it with soy sauce. Every type of fish requires a different temperature to chill to, a different knife cut, and a different way of plating that it showcases the art of sushi. And that's what it's called. It's the art of sushi. It's not just sushi. And there are rules to eating sushi that a lot of us here in America are not familiar with, from how you place your chopsticks to how you dip it in soy sauce. I mean, there's several different ways to do that and break it down. So it's so intriguing to me that if I had to hop on a plane right now, that's exactly where I'd be going.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I want to go too.
If it wasn't so dang expensive and far away,
Right?
Yeah.
I'd be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I could live on sushi and ramen every day.
Oh,
Never
that's
get tired of
delicious.
it. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, funny enough, I have never really wanted to be anything other than a chef.
Really?
Yeah. Anytime I was
That's
asked when
cool.
I was younger, and they said, "What do you want to be?" I'd say a chef, or I'd say an entrepreneur. And
Now you're both.
I'm both, absolutely. and they, any good chef will tell you those two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So anybody that has a dream to open a restaurant or a food truck or anything, you have to be an entrepreneur at heart. So that has to
Absolutely.
be, you have to be dual-minded. You have to be able to craft the food and crunch the numbers. It goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Agreed.
And more importantly, work ridiculous amount of hours.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Most
You need,
importantly.
you need to have that work ethic and that drive to be able to go that hard and go that far without seeing much return for a reasonable amount of time.
Absolutely.
Right?
And one thing I like to tell people when I'm posed with that, they said, so when you do events, you could be working a 16-hour day.
Yeah.
And I said, if I'm not willing to put in that hard work for myself, what's the point? Who would I do it for? If I'm not willing to break my back for myself, why would I do it for anyone else? Like that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
That's as simple as I can put it. I'm working for myself. If I'm going to see myself succeed, I don't care if I'm putting in a 17, 18-hour day. I don't care if I'm sleeping 5 hours a night and, working the other 19. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
And you're excited when you
Exactly.
wake up.
Right.
Yeah, I wake up ready to tackle those tasks.
And you're not sleepy when you go to sleep. You're tired, but you're not sleepy.
Exactly.
And that's what happens when you love what you do.
Yeah.
So, final question. This might be a loaded one. What is your favorite restaurant in Oklahoma?
Ooh, that is a loaded question. Again, if we're talking favorites, just casual eat, I don't want to cook for myself. I'm not stepping foot in my kitchen tonight. I need to pick something up. It's still yummy, yummy. If we're talking about going out and actually sitting down and having a delicious meal, ooh, it is still a tough one. It's still a tough one. It's too close to call in my mind.
Call it. Fine. Since you are a special friend, we'll give you two options.
Go for it.
No.
Nah,
you give us
I
two
I
options.
give you two options. Okay, I thought you were going to help me out there.
We'll give you two choices.
Okay,
Two choices.
okay. I would say
Not helping you out.
I'm a steak fan, so I love a steak from Cattleman's. Like,
Okay.
it's
That's
in my
a
heart,
good
it's in my soul.
choice.
It's Oklahoma. It is 100% there. No, I think that's it. I think
That's
the
gonna be
one.
it.
You didn't even
That's
need
the
to.
one.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, I was nice for no reason.
Well, it made my mouth water when I thought about it, so it had to be the one.
You're like, gotta
And
stop
it.
there.
That's the epitome of good food. Is when you think about it, you're like, gotta have it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. Cool. So Gabe will be on our next episode. He's going to be talking with us about the 2019 food predictions and forecasts, like what we can see in 2019. So
And the trends.
The
Some are
trends,
weird.
yeah.
Some are good. Some you can already identify.
some are really weird.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great episode.
Yeah,
it'll be
I
a
do
great
too.
episode. But before we head out, Gabe, how can people follow you, show you some love, anything you want to throw out there?
Oh, absolutely. If people want to follow me, see what I'm doing, see whenever I'm hosting classes or dinners here in Oklahoma City, they can follow me on Instagram at @the_Gabriel Lewis. You can follow me on Facebook at Gabriel Lewis, or follow me on Twitter at Gabriel Lewis.
So, Gabriel Lewis.
Pretty
Gabriel
much.
Lewis. Cool. And you can always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all the socials at OKC Foodcast.
That's right. And hopefully we'll have a website coming soon as well. So
Yes.
stay tuned for that. Until next time, eat and be happy.
Bye.